Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It's December 3rd when I'm recording this. I wanted to show you guys three trades that I'm looking at now that the market is finally getting back onto track from to the upside. Before we dive into that, let me show you a little bit of updates and what I'm actually seeing for the market so that we can kind of put these trades into context, because if you guys have been looking around the market, you know that over the last month or 6 weeks, it's been pretty brutal out there. Partly it's because of the AI situation. There were some fears and people get some cold feet and like bubbles and just overpriced and stuff like that. And a lot of these moves about AI and the nuclear names, they had just gone up so high that they were unreasonably high and the risk to reward was not good. And so then all of them got back down. The other side of it is a lot of traders were, the industry was kind of worried that there may not be a rate cut in December. So that was another thing that the market had to reprice, because if you don't get a rate cut, then the way that money was coming into these and valuing these stocks, especially the speculative ones and small cap ones, were not accurate. And so then they had to bring those down because suddenly there may not be a rate cut. But as you can see, the rate cut has now changed. We are now up to basically 89%. So pretty much it's going to be happening now. And that was just a few weeks ago. We were down at 34 or 35%. So huge turnaround as far as that goes, and also huge turnaround on the market. Now, a couple things. If we look at this, I find one thing to be very interesting. I've had this trend line for a very long time. If you see this right here, this long trend line, and look where we tested. Incredible. Came right down to that trend line and tested it. The other thing that I'll note is if you look at the weekly chart, and this is also pretty common for what I look at and for what I teach, is we got a pullback into the weekly 21 on the S&P. So yeah, right on target, basically right on target. And you guys know that over Thanksgiving week, the market basically came roaring back and it's almost like nothing happened. So, down, and right back up here. So far this is looking pretty good. We do need to make sure we get some follow through. The market is still kind of working on that. It's up, but I'd like to see a couple things before I can really say that the market itself is ready to go. But underneath the surface, we are getting stocks starting to repair, especially the ones that got hammered over the last few weeks. And then also we're starting to see some good activity kind of coming back into some of the other stronger names. So let's dive into that. Let me show you one more thing about the IWM, because this is the small caps, and you can see also pretty good month. I mean, look at the monthly, just a huge wick. I mean, look at that. Again, it's almost like this never happened. We just had a huge move down into the 21 and it bounced right back. And if you just ignore that wick, it's like it never happened, huh? So I think that is pretty telling and very good for the market that we're starting to see this come back. And yeah, just look at that absolutely massive move like that, little bit of a pullback and then right back to the upside. So good stuff happening. I think we should generally be bullish into the end of the year, and then we'll see what 2026 is going to have for us. We can also look at the VIX, and you can see here that it is also confirming that the market is ready to go higher. There were definitely some fears out there as the VIX went much higher, and we're really starting to hold moving averages like this. But ever since Thanksgiving week, it's just imploded. So good news to see from these kind of things. It means we've bought some breathing room for the market. All right, so let's get into some of these trades. The UNH, this is United Healthcare. For a long time, I was kind of poo-pooing this trade just because I didn't think it was ready. And, in through this area, I know a lot of people out there, especially Twitter and X and stuff, people are like, oh, I'm going to buy the dip. I'm going to buy this. It's down. It's a good company. I'm going to buy it. And I was like, I don't really see the reason. It's too early. It's too early. For me, it's still underneath all these moving averages, and the Moxie indicator is still below zero. So I was like, I'm not going to do it. And you can see, yep, it continued to go lower. So I thought that was just too early. Now, where I started getting in, let me get this. Where I started getting in was right there, that one. And the reason is because this was the news about, Berkshire Hathaway getting in, a lot of other big players. So basically the big boys started getting in, and that's why this thing jumped up. Great, happy to hear that. I don't need to be the first one in, I just have to be in a good spot. And so this is where I bought in, and I bought in with leaps. And so that's something you guys can look at too. There is a leverage ETF, UNHG, if you guys want that. And I do think this is a longer term play. I also was not surprised that this pulled back like this. And I've been talking to the Moxie crew and Moxie subscribers and saying, yeah, I'm looking for this. I would like to actually buy this dip, because this is what I call a trampoline move. And again, if you guys are not familiar with my style and what I teach, when you have price below the 50 SMA and the Moxie indicator is above zero, it's basically a buy the dip situation. And it's like trying to put a beach ball underneath water and it wants to come right back up. So this was a buy the dip situation. It was a trampoline move. And then what we can see here is as of today, we had a nice big move right there off of the hourly 50, which is exactly what I was looking for. Now, it was such a big move, I'm actually going to have to wait a little bit longer to get the exact entry that I'm looking for to add to my position, but I'm pretty happy with what we are in because we have leaps and they're doing great. And then you can come over here, and generally speaking, I'm looking at, I know it's not exactly, but I'm kind of looking at like a double bottom right in through there, and I'd like to see this thing go much higher. I'm kind of envisioning that this could get back up to where it was before. So I've been kind of targeting $500 as far as a move. I have no idea how long it's going to take. Don't know exactly what path, but I do think something like that is going to be happening. And yeah, if we look through here, you can see it's a long ways to go, but I think it can start working out through here and get up. So I don't need to be in a rush to get in here. Just find the dips, start adding to it. And I think that this is basically the last major dip right there. And anything else is probably going to be on lower time frames. So yeah, I think this is a very, very sweet spot for something like UNH if you guys are interested. And remember, if you want to check out more of the trades that I do and how I talk and how I teach other traders, remember to come over to simplertrading.com/Moxie. That's where you can see this. We have a 30-day trial for $7 and come on in. That way you can learn everything that I do and how I teach and work, and then you guys can start picking up some trades as well. Okay, so the other one, looking at SDRL, sea drill. Think about ocean drilling. We know that Trump's basically like drill, baby, drill. And so who's in the middle? Drillers. That's why I think that they are going to be benefiting. You can also see this looks a little bit like UNH, to where we've had a pretty recent dip in through here. It's been a little bit choppy, but now take a look at this trend line right there. I'll try that again. Yeah, look at that trend line. Nice breakout from the trend line today, and look what just happened. We got the Moxie price trigger too, right on time. Good stuff. So very happy about this. This is looking nice. And if we look at the higher time frame, doesn't that look sweet too? We are getting a Moxie price trigger on the weekly and prices over the monthly 10. Yeah, and you can even see we have a squeeze. So everything is showing up green on the Moxie indicator and everything that I teach and show in through here. So Seadrill is another one that I think could be right in the sweet spot given some of the administration and their priorities and kind of what's going on out there. And yeah, look at that today. Nice breakout to the upside. Okay, then another one, Ethereum. You know, couldn't get too far without talking about crypto, could we? So Ethereum and Bitcoin and all this stuff, MSTR, BMNR, we know those things have gotten really wrecked over the last few weeks or months. And there's still a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of reasons that people are saying why and this and that. Okay, so whatever the reason is, this is what happened. I was looking for price to actually hold up here. I thought it was going to hold this level because that was where the weekly 21 was. And nope, you can see right here, the bottom fell out and that's where it continued to go lower. Now at this point, I think the market's going higher. I think rate cuts are going to be happening. And I see that the bottom is pretty much in for crypto because I don't see the market going up without crypto and vice versa. I don't see crypto going up without the market. So I think these things are kind of done. I think they now have tailwinds. And I think that basically this was a really big move down to support. And I just don't think it's going to go lower. And this is what I've been saying for a few weeks and through here. And in fact, if we look at the monthly time frame right here, you can see that, what are we in, December? So the November monthly bar, interestingly enough, dipped below the monthly 10, but then came right back and actually closed above the monthly 10 or on it. And then if you look at December, we opened low and then went up. So this is going to be a green bar. And I bet you anything, it's going to close above the monthly 10. I don't know how far, but I think it's going to do that. So I think that this is going to show a nice turnaround like that. And then if we look at the weekly chart, I also think that this is oversold. I think there's a gap here, and I think we're going to start seeing this thing come up. I'm sure there will be some twists and turns and whatever, so I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities to get in. The other thing I'll point out, just like I said with UNH, there is a trampoline move here. So price is below the weekly 50. Notice how the Moxie indicator is still above zero. I'm pretty sure that's going to hold, and so what we will see down the road, a few weeks from now, is that price went below the 50, Moxie indicator stayed above 0, eventually will go green again, and this is going to be a really, really big buy the dip situation on something like Ethereum. So I think that's what's happening here, and you can even see we have a Moxie price trigger right there on the hourly. Now again, we've got some work to do on the daily, but I think this is proving, especially with this double bottom in through here, I think this is proving that the bottom's in. So keep finding your spots, buy some dips. I think we've got lots of opportunity here because this thing has not ripped and roared to the upside. It's still having to twist and turn and change some of the patterns in order to get this thing up. It has to get over moving averages, and it has to get the fast moving averages over the slow moving averages. So lots of work in through here, but I think that work means opportunity. There will be lots of places for you to add or buy dips or get in and do stuff like this. You're not going to have to worry about really missing the opportunity in through here. So Ethereum, ETHA or ETHE or ETHU as far as the leverage ETF, or you can do some of the other stocks that are related to Ethereum. But basically speaking, I think crypto is going to be going higher from here into the future. Okay, guys. So remember, come on over to simplertrading.com/Moxie. You can come in for a 30-day trial for 7 days, and this is where you can see more about me and how I do this and how I guide people into trades. I was on the mic for probably an hour and a half, almost 2 hours today for the Moxie subscribers. And so we get a lot of questions answered, and we help a lot of people figure out where they need to go with this market, how to see the market, and actually how to use the Moxie system and start seeing things the way that I see, so you can actually clearly make heads and tails of this market. Okay, guys? So thanks again for your time, and we'll see you at the next one. Take care.